God damn it. I'm fucking. Okay, well, first off, I'm recording now. Second, I'm fucking. Every time I open Skype now, all I see is fucking Porkins' stupid fucking face front and center in the center of my screen.
Don't you
damn
dare.
It, Ben.
Don't you
God
fucking
damn
dare.
It, Ben.
Chris, don't you fucking dare talk about our Lord and Savior in such a manner.
Fucking damn it. We haven't even started the podcast and I'm already angry. God damn
Holy
it.
shit. Holy shit. That was quick.
There's a new fucking record here. Oh god, the wheels have fallen off. It's week 7. Here we go. Woo!
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Every Week Forever, where the name is in the name and the meaning is in the name and whatever. We watch one Star Wars movie every single week for the rest of time.
What the fuck was that?
It was an intro, Ben.
Is this our new intro?
That's one hell of an intro.
Have we had a consistent intro yet? I feel like we haven't.
We have not consistent anything yet. What the fuck?
We're lucky we have intro music.
We are lucky we have intro music. Thank you, Chris.
Thanks to Chris.
I mean...
When duty calls, Chris answers.
So, it's worth noting ahead of time that this is a podcast recorded perpetually 6 weeks ahead of what's being released. So it is currently...
Because we are extremely organized people.
We are kind of
as you can tell by the entire original trilogy episodes. This is the week of God, what was the date that started this week off? Of the 30th through the 5th. The 30th of August through the 5th of September. And there was a GQ article that was released this week. In which John Boyega talked a lot about his experience in regards to being a black man in Star Wars. We're a bunch of white dudes, and we recognize that. But we all felt it was important to at least put some of his words in here, especially since we're talking about The Force Awakens, and Chris, and to a lesser extent, I have some complaints about the advertising in this movie. So we thought we would lead with a few of his quotes and then go into that so that his words are at the forefront of this rather than anything we have to say, because that's not our place. So the title of the article is that he was the only actor on the Star Wars sequels that the experience was about his race. And one of the big things he said was, it was difficult to maneuver. You get yourself involved in projects and you're not necessarily going to like everything, but what I would say to Disney is do not bring out a black character, market them to be much more important in the franchise than they are, and then have them pushed to the side. It's not good, I'll say it straight up. Like, you guys knew what to do with Daisy Ridley, you knew what to do with Adam Driver, you knew what to do with these other people, but when it came to Kelly Marie Tran, when it came to John Boyega, you knew fuck all. So what do you want me to say? What they want you to say is, I enjoyed being part of it, it was a great experience. Nah. I'll take that deal when it's a great experience. They'll give all the nuance to Adam Driver, all the nuance to Daisy Ridley. Let's be honest. Daisy knows this. Adam knows this. Everybody knows this. I'm not exposing anything. And the other thing I wanted to sneak in here, it was important to me that I put this one out there because I haven't seen anybody really quote it, at least in the circles that I'm a part of. And that was in regards to his appearances while promoting these movies. It seemed as if he was greatly forced, at least in the early stages, to wear what they wanted him to wear. His exact words were, during the press of The Force Awakens, this is a quote, I went along with it, and obviously at the time I was very genuinely happy to be a part of it. But my dad always tells me one thing, don't overpay with respect. You can pay respect, but sometimes you'll be overpaying and selling yourself short. So those are in his words. We highly advise you check out the GQ article, as you should see and hear his words from him. But we felt it was important to present his perspective, since it was topical, since we're on The Force Awakens anyway, and make sure that was said. Now, in regards to that, there's a quote in there about the advertising of these movies, and I know Chris really wanted to talk about that.
Yeah, because and here's the thing, in regards to his quote, because he brings it up, shouldn't have done this, Disney shouldn't have done that. I'm going to partially defend Disney, not just for that sweet, sweet Disney Plus sponsorship money.
That we are totally getting.
Yeah. But also, watching this last night, and also I watched this one with my wife, because evidently she was only interested in watching 2 and 7 with me. I told her a couple of times, and this is going to be like a 2-part rant in the next 2 weeks. This movie has made me like The Last Jedi much less. And I was a big defender of Last Jedi when it first came out. I don't know how much of this was Disney, because watching this movie, there was a lot of stuff that was set up. In the advertising, you had Finn holding a lightsaber in almost every poster. And, they set up a whole bunch of shit in this movie. And then Rian Johnson walks in to do the screenplay for The Last Jedi with Qui-Gon's robe and half a blunt tucked behind his ear, fuck everything they set up in this movie. I'm making my movie. Fuck this character. There's space casinos now, and fuck you. I really like this movie. I like this movie a lot. I enjoyed watching it again. I have almost no complaints about this movie.
I want to throw out there, and John Boyega, this is not in his own words, please check out the GQ article. John Boyega defended JJ a lot and put a lot of the blame on Rian Johnson, which he knows more about everything that happened there than we ever will. But the advertising of this movie did have Finn presented as a Jedi from the very beginning. And regardless of who was directing, I have to say it is Disney's fault. It is the people in charge of the entire trilogy's fault that was not followed up on. I know that in The Rise of Skywalker, there was a plot line where it was supposed to be mentioned, but it ends up being a giant plot hole because the scene where it was mentioned that Finn was Force sensitive, way too late, by the way, was cut. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at.
But once again, you can't entirely absolve Disney of the blame. I possibly worded it wrong by saying I was defending Disney. I'm partially defending Disney because I think the plan, judging by the advertising and Force Awakens, was 100% to have him as a Jedi.
It seems to me like a lot
of that got really fucked up with Rian Johnson.
Yeah. No,
Along with the fact that, there was another thing that struck me really hard in this movie was the first time Rey is mentioned to Kylo, and the First Order guys, there was another one with FN21 whatever. It was a girl. Kylo reacts like he knows already who's being talked about.
Yeah.
So strongly. There was clearly plans for a lot of shit.
Also, in this movie, when he finally does find, when Kylo finally does find Rey, he says, "Oh, you must be the girl I've heard about." So, I get a weird feeling, does he know who she is, or doesn't she?
It seems to me, and this is a problem with this entire trilogy to me, it seems like I will give JJ credit despite the fact that I'm greatly annoyed with him in many regards, not just Star Wars. I'll give him credit that he did I will give him credit that he did a fantastic job in this movie in general, building characters. I would say this trilogy has some of the most likable characters in all of Star Wars.
Easily.
Yeah.
I told my wife, like, I can't get over how much, like, the first couple of scenes with Finn and Poe together when they're escaping together, like, it's so good. Like, you can't help but smile that whole time. I mean, the chemistry between those two, they're such great characters, like, fucking,
And it's worth throwing out there that both actors repeatedly tried to pitch having them be a couple in this trilogy.
Oh, they did?
Yes, repeatedly.
I knew that was a fan thing.
When they reunite on the Resistance base and they see each other and they hug, it's silent. My wife and I watched this movie. I was like, kiss, you cowards.
Do it. My gay ass is just like, no, you should really kiss. You should really kiss.
Well, I don't know so much about John Boyega. Like I said, I don't personally know, but I saw plenty of interviews with Oscar Isaac where he's like, oh, they should have kissed. They should have been together. He was so strongly for it. It's hilarious.
That's
great. So much.
John Boyega pushed it pretty hard as well. It was largely Oscar Isaac, but John Boyega, like right after the movie came out, said on Twitter that was something they both really wanted and pitched over and over again.
I wish.
Well, and here's the thing. I mean, I got really pissed off for the opposite reason of a lot of people who got pissed off about it after Rise of Skywalker, when there's, the celebration scene and there's two women that kissed, and there were a lot of people who got mad at that because they're homophobic assholes. But I was more pissed off because I'm like, if you.
I didn't hear any backlash from that.
Anytime you see anything gay, there's always a backlash from homophobes. Always.
Well, yeah, but I never saw anything of it, but also I expose myself to that sort of stuff the least out of the three of us, probably.
It's worth mentioning, I saw The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi, but The Rise of Skywalker with two friends, one of which was Ben, and we went to a dollar store right after, and I kept saying, they gave us the goddamn scene with two women kissing in the background when they could have just had two of the major characters be together.
Yep. Well, we all know why though, because
Disney sucks.
Because that's a shot that they could easily cut out of the movie for places I won't mention that are very not happy about the existence of homosexuals.
It was coward.
Should we not mention my name? Because I had a place I was going to mention that goes.
I don't care if you mention it by name. I just didn't want to be the one to make us go down that rabbit hole.
I'll mention it. They had to fuck with the advertising for China and remove Finn from a lot of the advertising for China. Because, reasons. And that's bullshit too.
Yeah.
That primarily to me is one of the main reasons why Finn likely, regardless of what JJ was doing, I can blame Rian Johnson all day long. But after a while, you can't defend Disney, because at the end of the day, it's pretty likely he never would have been like that main of a character because of international markets that unfortunately make it impossible for them to do that.
It doesn't make it impossible. They're just being cowards.
Yeah.
Well, it makes it impossible for their wallets and that, sweet, sweet Disney money.
Yeah. Which, Disney Plus, best $7.99 in the business.
Yes, best $7.99. They tried to charge my wrong card this morning, so I currently don't have Disney Plus. Disney Plus, sponsor me. Give me free Disney Plus.
Don't sponsor us. You'll regret it. I promise. I promise you'll regret it.
I already
Disney
regret
Plus,
it on their
charge
behalf.
my correct card next time. Disney Plus.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
go ahead, Josh.
No, please go ahead.
No, I was just gonna drag us back into, the movie we're discussing this week.
I was too, so that's good.
I think tangentially we've been discussing the movie this whole time.
I wanted to real quick point out, because before we were talking about the chemistry between Finn and Poe, I realized something today. Well, I realized something Wednesday when I watched this. Finn has this whole epiphany during when they're storming the village at the very beginning, and it starts with I'm assuming his friend. I forget exactly. I used to know the canon on like the new stormtroopers and Finn's relation to a lot of them and stuff. But it starts with his friend getting shot and killed, and like culminates in him being like, "All right, I'm gonna free that pilot that we just captured because that's my ticket out of here." Fucking Poe's the one who shot his friend.
I made the same note.
Poe's the one who fucking murdered his friend that gave him the epiphany of maybe I'm the bad guy.
It was also a continual shot. Like, shoots him, if I remember correctly, he shoots him, you follow the laser blast, it hits that stormtrooper, and then the blood that comes out of nowhere just
I was talking to my coworker, he's like, are you sure it wasn't just like, oh, Finn's shooting some guy, and then like it cuts away, and I'm like, no, like he fucking shot him.
See, I had a theory on that, and I probably should have paid better attention or rewound to confirm my theory. Is Poe's gun, is it a slug thrower like the Tuskens use?
It doesn't seem
no,
because that's
no? Okay.
We know it isn't because of the Kylo holding the laser blast.
Oh yeah, duh, that's right. Yeah. I'm trying to help explain away why there's suddenly blood now in the Star Wars universe, only for that one guy with lasers.
In a place that is not shot at all.
Yeah.
Well, it's like poetry, just like George Lucas said, it's poetry. In episode 4, someone gets their arm chopped off and there's blood. In this one, someone gets shot at and there's blood.
Well, we'd be remiss. I'll preface this by saying, I love the characters in this movie more than anywhere else in the Star Wars saga. All of these people are so fucking likable. It's so refreshing after the original trilogy and the prequels to have people who speak like actual people.
Yeah.
Like, this is a soft reboot of A New Hope, down to every scene mirroring every scene in A New Hope. The scene starts out with an assault on a rebel base. It goes into the capture of one of the main characters. It goes into a canteen, or it goes to where the main character is on a desert planet. It goes from that desert planet to a risky escape in the Millennium Falcon. It goes from there to a cantina. That's a slight difference, I'll give it that. It goes from that cantina into a big battle that leads to a planet or planets, in this case, destruction of a system in this case rather than a planet. And it ends with a trench run. Except we've got a lightsaber fight thrown in there because we have to have a lightsaber fight. In this case, it's 2015. We had to make sure it was in there. But
also, I did want to mention Hosnian Prime, or the whole Hosnian system. It was introduced and destroyed to nothing but ashes in like 5 seconds. I'm just like, oh, this is the Republic we fought for. It's just fucking gone.
I thought that was Coruscant when I was in the theater the first time. I was like, oh, that's fantastic.
Honestly, it should have been.
It should have been Coruscant. I realize now, and I don't know if this is true or not, because it seems like the planning between directors was so poor. I don't know if this is true or not, but I know that the original episode 9 that was supposed to be named Duel of the Fates had a major story arc on Coruscant. So maybe that's why it wasn't Coruscant? I don't know. But
some of the episode 9 drafts, at least from my understanding, they did have an uprising on Coruscant at one point.
Yeah. So I guess that's why it wasn't done like that, but it just seems like such a huge waste.
Here's the problem. You're giving too much credit right now. You're giving far too much credit right now.
Oh, I know I am.
I mean, I don't know because I didn't look this up, but I assume it was JJ. I assume JJ not only directed but wrote the screenplay for VII, yeah?
I'm
not sure.
I believe so, yeah.
Because I know for a fact that Rian Johnson's the one who wrote the screenplay for Last Jedi because I looked it up after watching Seven last night to know who to direct my anger towards. So the screenplays were written by entirely different fucking people. I guarantee with no, like, I want to know if Rian
JJ
Johnson
did
saw
right.
Force Awakens. I want someone to ask Rian Johnson, did you watch The Force Awakens before you wrote the screenplay for Last Jedi?
I agree. I have a theory, though. I really think none of the directors communicated, like, at all between each other.
There's no way.
Clearly.
I think they sat down and were like, here's a very basic arc, 7 to 9, of, like, where we want to get to. And I think, I don't want to defend Rian Johnson because he is to blame for a lot of things here. And this week reminded me of that when I probably should have known it all along. But it really does seem to me Rian Johnson went into episode 8 with an attitude of, you aren't like I feel like we didn't have a conversation here. This is what I wanted to do, so I'm going to do my thing, when he probably should have just rewritten the damn thing so that it played better off of The Force Awakens.
Here's the thing.
Frustrating.
To me, it's like it's like we all play D&D here.
Yes.
It would be like if we were starting a campaign, we had, the DM and 3 players, and the 2 of the players went, all right, here's this great 5e character, our characters are going to be connected, the backstories are all connected, and then the 3rd player was like, my Shadowrun character is ready, guys. Guys? Oh, 5e, that's what we're playing. Oh, okay, yeah.
And I know you guys are much more about this trilogy than I am, and I'm not saying I hate it. I'm not one of those, but like I'm nitpicky with it, and I'm aware it's mostly nitpicks.
Oh, I have 4 pages of nitpicks with this movie. It's not that like
okay, you're probably a bit more nitpicky than me.
my notes for any given movie are generally 2 to 4 pages.
But just like generally, I feel like if they just fucking communicated.
Yes.
A lot of the frustrations that not just us, but like most of the fan base, which to be fair, the fan base overreacts a lot, but that most of the fan base had would be mitigated to an outrageous degree because it would be an actually coherent story.
It's also probably worth mentioning that the filming schedule of these movies probably was also a big issue. I have to double check this. It might just be one of those cases like George in Attack of the Clones. But we know for a fact, based on a YouTube video that was released the day after The Force Awakens was released, that Rian Johnson started filming on, I forget the name of the island, for Luke and Rey, like a month or 2 before The Force Awakens was released. Now, I don't know if that's because that island, you had to have a specific period of time where you filmed there, but you already know that things are kind of fucked when you're filming before the first movie even comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a little spooky.
And to be honest, you can blame Disney for that as well.
Yeah.
Rian, obviously, but Disney as well.
I'll happily blame Disney for a lot of stuff. I mean, no, I love Disney. Please give us money.
Don't do it. I'm telling you.
See, I think there's no better way to exemplify what Rian Johnson did with The Last Jedi. Like, all you have to do is look at the first scene of Last Jedi when Luke is handed the lightsaber and tosses it over the cliff. That's Rian Johnson. When they handed him the notes from Force Awakens, he went, I don't need any of this.
I mean, to be fair, like, JJ did the same exact thing back to Rian Johnson once fucking episode 9 rolled. He was just like, oh, look at all this stuff you made. It'd be a shame if I were to just ignore it.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's where you can get mad at JJ again. But I mean...
It's an epic flow of anger.
Exactly. It's just, well, no, fuck you, no, fuck you, no, fuck you, no, fuck you.
I would still take The Rise of Skywalker over, or The Last Jedi over The Rise of Skywalker any day.
Yeah.
I was
But
about
the
to say I would
pettiness
take
between these
anything over the Rise of
the
I would take
pettiness
anything
between
over
these
that.
two directors actively hurts a lot of the strongest parts
Yep.
of these films.
I think, and this is just my opinion, I could be entirely wrong. I'm likely entirely wrong. If they had just stuck to the plan that was there with The Force Awakens, I think the trilogy would have been really good.
There's oh god, give me a second. I have to find the name of a YouTube channel.
So, Chris, how's it going?
I was gonna say this is probably the angriest I've gotten during one of these recordings,
You
but I
seem
forgot I
very
yelled
wound up.
about Yoda last time. We've entered the rough times. The next 3 weeks.
Welcome to the dark times.
Yeah, the next 3 weeks, I imagine there will be some shouting.
I can't find it. I'll put it up on I will put a picture of it up on the YouTube release, and I'll put it up on the Twitter as well. There is a really good piece that came out not long after either The Force Awakens or The Last Jedi came out, where a composer or a music writer with a college degree sat down and looked at the music of The Force Awakens and everybody's themes. And one thing that there was an emphasis on that we know that JJ wanted was that all of the pieces of music in some way, the thematic pieces for characters, could some way be combined.
Huh. So all the leitmotifs kind of like bleed into each other.
That yes. It's not that they bleed into each other, it's that they can be stacked in a way that's interesting. And I really, really, really honestly think the reason for that is because either JJ suspected what was going to happen with Ryan ahead of time, or two, and this is my personal view, he knew that they didn't have a coherent plan going forward, and he wanted all the bases to be covered. I have such a hard time believing that they sat down and had an honest conversation. Any of them, either Rian Johnson or J.J. Abrams or the original director for Episode 9. It seems so cobbled together to me.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thing that I forgot about. Who was the original director of 9? Because I remember being excited about it, but I don't for the life of me remember who it was.
One moment.
I thought I remember being vaguely excited about it.
All I remember is they got cut for creative
Colin Trevorrow
differences was the typical Colin Trevorrow.
Never mind.
Yeah,
Never mind.
I was not excited about that.
I was not excited about that.
Never mind.
Colin Trevorrow, if I remember correctly, did the first of the new Jurassic Park movies.
Oh, I'm unfamiliar with probably most of his work then.
Yeah, I don't know. I really enjoy this movie. I really enjoy this movie, and I get mad every time I rewatch it because I enjoyed this fucking movie so much.
God damn it, I'm having fun again.
Yeah, because it's just I'm feeling something. Damn it, my chest hurts.
I won't disagree with you. I had fun watching this. I have some bigger problems with the way they structured it because I'm so frustrated that they decided to basically take another movie and make that the chasis, the skeleton of this movie. Because I feel it does a discredit to all of the characters, all of the brilliant dialogue, and all of the ideas in this movie. But even more than that, it's 2020, we're sitting here, all three are out. I'm so fucking frustrated with the light that has been shed on this movie. Did you notice that they repeatedly had like Han and Maz and so many people like allude to the fact that they knew who Rey was? Mm-hmm. I can forgive the Kylo scene because he was already in this temper tantrum when he was
in the middle of being a 5-year-old.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's so frustrating. You want to know what the one that upsets me the most? the Force Vision.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I have so.
Oh. I think
Yeah.
either this or episode 9 might be Chris's spiciest episodes.
I
Because every
cannot.
time we bring up a new thing, Chris is just like, "Oh, I'm
I
ready."
cannot. I'm gonna be honest here. I noticed something for the first time last night watching this.
Oh?
Maybe I'm just a fucking moron and didn't notice it before, or maybe it's just because I watched it with the clear, crisp subtitles on Disney Plus, and it was pointed out to me. When Rey touches the lightsaber and has the vision, she's hearing Obi-Wan's voice.
Yep.
Yeah, they had Ewan McGregor come in
Yes.
And do a few lines, and they also took a small piece of God help me, Alec Guinness's original performance and put it in there as well. Yoda speaks in it. There's a lot of that.
They took Alec Guinness's lines and they cut it so that he's saying her name, which makes me feel so weird. I want to hate it, but I don't have a legitimate reason to genuinely hate it, if that makes any sense.
That's a bigger subject that I had actually wanted to bring up in Revenge of the Sith, about how Star Wars kind of set this precedent of Hollywood using the voices and faces of actors without their consent after they passed away, but I don't think we can talk about that here.
Yeah, no, the thing that struck me was like, all right, well, fucking, it's not even just like she's hearing generic voices, generic lines. Like Obi-Wan said her fucking name. He is speaking directly to her. Obi-Wan never shows up again. He doesn't show up. You hear his voice in Rise of Skywalker when you hear all the Jedi's voice. But they seemingly set it up like, oh, Obi-Wan's gonna show up at some point.
Oh,
No!
Or at least alludes to, there is a connection between Rey and a handful of these previous Jedi that just doesn't exist now.
I fucking hate to do this. I really do, but I have to give The Rise of Skywalker a momentary piece of credit here. I hate myself. This is
okay, Josh?
Yeah, this is like acid in my throat.
Do I need
have to say this?
You get over there? Are you having a stroke?
Maybe. I don't think the point was to bring Obi-Wan into the movie. I think since the point in Rise of Skywalker was that she was channeling the entire history of the Jedi Order in order to defeat Big Bad Palps, that this small scene plays well into that because it's former Jedi attached to this lightsaber coming to her and are later reflected in that moment. That said, the Knights of Ren are perhaps the biggest fucking waste of potential in the entire saga. And it's never more apparent than in this vision. And that one can absolutely be blamed on Rian Johnson.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty common thing for fucking Star Wars anyway, because this movie also gives us the fantastic Gwendolyn Christie cast as this movie's fucking Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Why does Star Wars have an obsession with making cool fucking characters that they either never use or use for 5 minutes and kill off in the worst way possible?
Okay. Yeah, but I'm gonna put some fucking blame on JJ in The Force Awakens for this one. He devalued her to a ridiculous extent by putting in the scene where they throw her in the trash compactor at the end of the first movie. There's no fucking coming back from that at that point. You fucked Finn's.
At least Boba Fett gets something done. He kidnaps and fucking delivers Han Solo to Jabba the Hutt on a silver fucking platter. And there's one or two Star Wars Clone Wars episodes where you get young Boba Fett learning to be a bounty hunter and little young Boba Fett being a badass.
Even Jango Fett, he was the blueprint for an entire clone army. You can tell that he's cool ahead of time before they kill him off in a dumb way. Captain Phasma never fucking gets that. She's like, she's like really intimidating at the beginning of the movie, and then at the end of the movie it's like, hey, go on a trash compactor. That is a metaphor for what they did with Captain Phasma in this movie.
But like, even like they get, like I was saying, they gave baby, I want to say baby Boba Fett, but he wasn't really a baby. They gave baby Boba Fett these badass moments in the animated series, which is like something at least. Unfortunately, I watched the entirety of Star Wars Resistance.
Oh.
Which is the animated show for the sequel era. I would not recommend it, but I did it for you guys, so you didn't have to suffer. She doesn't do a damn thing. I was hoping, like, that whole time, like, okay, at least, like, Phasma's gonna show up at one point, and she does, and she's gonna do something crazy, and she's just like, go get the Resistance, and that's her whole thing.
Well, the problem with that, if I'm not mistaken, that's not Dave Filoni, that one, right?
I think wasn't that marketed at like young kids?
Yeah,
that
was the one that was marketed towards kids.
You can't redeem her in that sense. That wasn't going to be the market for you to be able to do anything with her in that regard. I can't blame Resistance for that.
I mean, to be fair, Rebels is also a cartoon for children, but it...
Yeah, but
to be fair, they're all cartoons. To be fair, this is a franchise.
This whole franchise
for children.
For children, yeah. But, I mean, especially, I feel like it has to be pointed out when we start talking about the animated series. But no, Rebels was able to do that thing that Clone Wars did, where it marketed itself well towards adults as well.
Dave Filoni was indeed the program creator for Star Wars Resistance.
Oh God, wow, Dave, why? Dave, you let me down. I can no longer call him the infallible Dave Filoni. Ugh.
And I just can I just take 5 minutes? Fucking that whole show. Because I watched Rebels, and I was like, alright, it wasn't great, but like it was something. It introduced some new concepts to the canon, and I could appreciate it for that. This show does nothing. The main character goes through all fucking, I forget even how many seasons there are. There's like either 2 or 4 or something like that. Goes through all of it and learns nothing. The main character arc is one of the secondary characters, and she has a badass character arc, but I'm just like, could we do something with, like, the insufferable fuck we're forced to pay attention to this whole time? That's my rant about...
Phasma's easily the most tragic case of Georging in this entire saga, and she wasn't even, like, George wasn't responsible for her Georging.
You can't even blame George Lucas for it.
Can I say something that really annoys me about this movie? It's like a minor thing, but I don't know why JJ did this. I assume maybe it's genuinely because JJ wanted there to be side stories related to the movie. But there's just like little things that the movie calls attention to but doesn't explain, like C-3PO's arm and the Hosnian system, and just like big plot, like not even big plot points, but big moments of confusion that you would explain in any normal movie. It felt to me like The Force Awakens wasn't attempting to flesh out the canon, like give you options to, like, oh, if you're interested in this, you can go buy something. To me, it was like they put neon signs that point to a plot point and just say, do you see this? This is a thing that we put in the movie. You can spend some money to find out what this is about. Like, it felt like advertising in a very Disney way, and I was really annoyed by it.
I feel like that could be blamed on mismanagement of future universe expansion. Like,
no, I feel like that one was a problem even when The Force Awakens came out, because they didn't intend to, like, JJ has literally said they had no intention of explaining, like, some of these things. because they wanted there to be side stories, but it was done in such a way that it felt like marketing. It's the closest that in movies Disney felt like they were marketing like Star Wars was marketing something to me rather than telling a story, and I was greatly annoyed. It might as well have just been ads.
Yeah, I gotcha. I want to make an argument, but I can't. Because, like, I feel like they were trying, pretending is probably a better word, to do, like, what A New Hope did, where Obi-Wan's like, oh, your dad fought with me in the Clone Wars, and everyone could be like, whoa, what's the Clone Wars? I want to find out. But like you said, they're just kind of like, hey, look at this thing. You can find out later when we release something that explains it.
Oh, I have no doubt that that was the original intention, because there's stuff through it like that throughout all the first 6 movies, and there's stuff like that in 8 and 9 that you can like try and get attached to and say, I want to go find out what this is about. This is the only movie where they specifically seem to put in things to be explored on the side rather than have it just be something small there that can be fleshed out that wasn't purposefully put there. And because it's such a red blaring thing, literally red, 3PO's arm is red. It's targeted advertising, and that turns me off to the entire affair.
There's I can't defend Disney on this at all. I mean, it's I was gonna make an attempt, but I don't think it's possible here. Because while I agree with you, I like to think. Look, so one of my favorite authors is Stephen Bruce, and this is going to be the most obscure reference I ever make because nobody knows who the fuck. I mean, Stephen Bruce does a thing where he's been writing these books since the 80s. There's like 15 of them now. And he'll throw away lines to shit that never gets explained again, and it's fine. It's just filler. So like, I think I have a bigger appreciation for stuff like that, where like I could excuse that as just a throwaway line, but I don't know.
That's not
Star
what it
Wars
feels
does have
like.
a tendency. Exactly, yeah. Star Wars does have a tendency to then do exactly like fucking shit. They did that a lot with that Star Wars Battlefront game, and then Battlefront 2 with like the story mode. It was like, well, we'll show you where Han gets the stupid medallion thing in the story mode of Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah, I'm not complaining about not explaining little things in movies. It just the feel is different. It's very it rather than it just being a line like Attack of the Clones does this a lot. As much as I hate that movie, does this a lot. Well, they'll just spew some sci-fi nonsense, and you just sit there like, okay, that's some sci-fi nonsense. If I want to look it up later, I can do that. But like, they're not marketing something to me. It's just a little tiny piece of the lore. Like Ben said, A New Hope does it. Revenge of the Sith does it with the Tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise. No, this isn't, because all of these things were released in quick succession after The Force Awakens very quickly. It's advertising. They did it with a point of selling more things, and that's why it annoys me. Because it wasn't just like a throwaway thing. It was like targeted.
It was like, oh, hey, look at me. I have a red arm. I have lines telling you I have a red arm, and you don't know why. And I'm going to tell you don't know why.
I mean, I really think the reason why the Hosnian system missed so bad was because they wanted you to go look up the Hosnian system. Because there's an entire series of novels based on that, which are totally like, I haven't read the novels, but I've read the lore now because of this movie, and fuck me.
Oh God!
But it turns out when you blow up an entire star system that nobody cares about and nobody has any characters invested in it, nobody gives a shit.
This movie's also really bad about telling you where you are at any given time. Up until this watch, I thought the Rebel, this is also my fault, because there's a very quick scene to show that you're on a different planet, but I thought the Resistance base was on the same planet as the bar up until like when I watched this movie today. Because they never tell you when you're going to a different place except in like very quick scenes that you can easily miss if you blink.
Yeah.
I mean, they do it with location, and they also do it with time to a degree. I mean, Star Wars is bad at that anyway, with
Yeah.
telling you when time has passed or how much time has passed. Like, like it's just they show up in places, and I always expect like a throwaway line of Finn being like, "Man, that was a crazy 6 months of travel." So, well, I'm sorry, what? Where are we?
I think the only planet they repeatedly talk about in this movie, or that they name in this movie, is Jakku. Like, I don't think any of the other planets are named in this movie. You have to look for the name elsewhere.
Look, JJ didn't have time to name planets, all right? He was planning locations where he could put some sweet lens flare, all right?
They do name, I believe they named Takodana. I'm not sure, the planet that Maz's castle is on.
Wow, they sure as hell named that, didn't they? Wow.
But if they do, they mention it like once, because I can't recall someone saying it at the moment, but I feel like they do.
They also have a habit in these movies of doing, this is in the blah blah system. It's like, okay, can you give me a planet name, please? That would be fantastic. I could remember that.
Well, and like with that, like they spend so much time introducing all these new planets and all this new shit going on. Like it makes me miss the OT when it was like, oh, we're on Tatooine. Oh, the Death Star just blew up fucking Alderaan. But the thing is, I feel like they were trying to get, well, obviously they were, because this is just a New Hope, but they were trying to get the same feel from Alderaan blowing up with the Hosnian system blowing up. But
that's why I thought it was Coruscant. That's why I thought it was Coruscant, because I thought that was the obvious, like yelling at the screen, this is Coruscant, this is a planet you care about, we're blowing it up. And it's just some fucking other place.
That bumfuck system over there that you never heard of. But, like, the thing with Alderaan is, like, we had Princess Leia there, whose home is Alderaan. Like, we had a character we were invested in, who gave a shit.
Yep.
None of the characters we've been introduced to up to this point in these movies has any interaction with Hosnian, the Hosnian system, or Hosnian Prime.
Yeah.
And they're just like, oh, well, they fucking blew it up. You see that one alien dude in the one scene? He's the fucking Chancellor now. It doesn't matter. He's gone.
I do really appreciate one thing I do think this does better than they did with Alderaan, is actually cutting two shots of the planet and people screaming and watching planets blow up.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't have money for that, and
it really drives home the atrocity.
And like, the thing with Star Wars is, and I've had this problem for a while, is Star Wars has a habit of being like, okay, because it was established in Episode 4, where it's like, okay, the Empire blew up a planet, and when you first see that, you're like, holy fuck, that's an entire planet. And now it's just like, yeah, you know, we made this super weapon that destroys an entire star system, and everyone's just like, at this point, because that's all Star Wars does anymore.
I'll also give this movie credit. I don't know, we're bitching a lot. It seems like we all enjoyed this watch, like, pretty well. Maybe I'm off base here.
No,
Chris did.
Enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it.
I always enjoy me watching the Snores Awaken.
There you go, Ben. Took you long enough, but you got it.
I had to find a way to wiggle it in when I realized we got through the intro and I didn't say it, and I was like, shit.
I also, the ending, like, lightsaber entire scene is way better than I remember.
Yeah.
And I get that people are a little bitchy and moany about Rey in this movie. We haven't even mentioned that, and I'm proud of us for that. But I don't think they seem to understand that she seemed pretty, like the movie sets up that she's perfectly able to take care of herself. Yeah. Like, way before. I really like, and it's so fucking dumb that this ever became a thing, because they go out of their way to make it that Kylo is heavily injured going into the end part of that lightsaber fight. Like, he's barely standing injured. He's got a wound in his fucking stomach. He's got a lightsaber wound in his fucking shoulder. He gets cut off.
Real quick. That's another one. Fucking Chewbacca shoots him and he's bleeding.
Yeah.
If you look, there's blood
Also-
dripping off of him onto the snow.
I'll forgive it. And you want to know
Yes.
why? The Finn's spine and that shoulder,
Oh,
that I don't know why, but that is the most vibrant memory I've ever had of a lightsaber fight. It is
yeah.
incredibly strangely brutal. It's
You're
pretty
right.
fucked up that I've had to experience both ends of Chewie and Han dying and the other watching each other in my life. I've had to experience both of those, and I'm never gonna forgive this movie for that. I have no problem with Han dying. Like, it made sense for the scene, but I've had to experience Chewie watch Han be killed by his son, and I've had to experience Han have to fly away when Chewie is crushed by a small moon, and I'm incredibly unhappy that I've had to experience both of those in one lifetime.
I had to explain that to my wife last night, and yeah.
Let's just destroy your childhood forward and backward.
I've still not forgiven R.A. Salvatore for that.
Yeah.
That was a choice that he made.
But
I mean,
like
to
Josh,
be fair, if you want to go out, getting crushed by a moon is. But it made no. You're right. It made no fucking sense.
but like Josh was starting to get into, like, a lot of people complain about how, like, Rey's combat ability. They're like, oh well, fucking Kylo Ren has been trained to use a lightsaber. It's like, motherfucker, we spend the first half of the movie with her on a desert planet beating the shit out of goons because she has to.
Exactly.
Also, going back to my argument that I think there's a plan moving forward and everybody fucking knew who Rey was. She's clearly Luke's kid, right? She was clearly supposed to be Luke's kid, right?
I don't fucking know. To be honest with you, I don't fucking know. Because every actor in this movie, and even the next one, go out of their way to in some way act forward that they know who she is. There is a large portion of this movie where it is implied that she might be Han's daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of up in the air in this movie, and like JJ loves to bring up questions and not so much answer them.
One thing I always said going into these movies is I thought it would be way more interesting if Rey came from nowhere. Rey did not have some sort of parental attachment to some sort of great Jedi, or in this fucking case, great Sith. I thought that would have been way more interesting. But going back to what the beginning of this podcast was for, if you really wanted to do that, you could have just made Finn a fucking Jedi. I don't want to bring up that canon again, but that would have been the way to do it. But instead, it's the great man theory over and over again.
Or you could have had more than one fucking Jedi for once, you know? You could have.
That's what I'm saying.
And Rey,
Yeah.
you know? You could have.
And how great would it be to have a defector stormtrooper become a Jedi? Like, I don't know, have we ever seen that in Star Wars?
I don't think so.
Because I don't think there's
No, Mara Jade Skywalker.
Well, yeah, but she was a bit more than just a stormtrooper.
Yeah. But she started out as a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
That's another fucking character that this series did.
Only a really big character I missed, but whatever.
Ben.
Chris?
Ben, I'm going to stop you because I'm quite disappointed in you because you and I shared a moment of bonding a couple of episodes ago, and now I'm quite cross.
Wait, what's going on? I'm scared.
We've never seen a former stormtrooper become a Jedi before. A great Jedi, one of the best Jedi.
You fucked up.
Wait, no, I'm scared. What's happening?
Kyle motherfucking Katarn.
I thought
Katarn
the same
was
thing.
Okay, never mind. I deserve.
Kyle Katarn was a stormtrooper.
I deserve all this hatred. I do.
I thought the same thing, but I know the two of you know the character better than me. I was like,
no, you're right.
How dare you forget our Lord and Savior Kyle Katarn?
I'll have to take a trip to the Valley of the Jedi to redeem myself.
But you praise our cult.
But back to what I was saying before. Gonna quickly get off of this topic before I get crucified.
You've been crucified. It's too late.
The one thing I can't really rationalize about Rey's character is how she's such a great pilot.
Well, no, that makes sense because it's implied in the movie that she
Yes.
did a lot of work in town, taking care of a lot of the electronics. She literally lives inside of an AT-AT. She
Also-
actively junks old starships. Like, that makes total sense to me.
Well,
Also, we are told in Phantom Menace that Anakin is the only one
Yes.
who is able to pod race as a human because of the Force.
Yes. Well, exactly. There you
He's
go.
a natural pilot.
And also, it
okay,
just
but
reminds me-
also I don't like the idea of a 9-year-old being a fantastic pilot
well,
blowing up
yes,
a
yes.
hole.
But I feel like if you're going to complain about one, you got to complain about the other. This movie does a better job than anyone gives credit to prepare you for Rey's ability. You want to know the one that I'll never quite understand, though? How did she know how the Jedi mind trick worked?
Right?
She's never experienced it, but she has this idea. It's just like, oh, Jedi mind trick. Maybe
My
it's just that there's
rationalization-
legends of it.
Yeah.
But how did she know that she could Jedi mind trick Daniel Craig? That's what I want to know.
He's fucking James Bond, for God's sake.
I forgot that was Daniel Craig.
I mostly just brought that up because I mostly just brought that up because I wanted to remind the world that Daniel Craig decided to be a faceless stormtrooper in a Star Wars movie.
Honestly, if I was famous in Hollywood, I'd be like, I want to be Stormtrooper number 73. Thank you very much.
See, I am more apt to excuse it because, like, so initially going into this movie, when I saw all the shit, when Han reacted the way he did to Rey, and the pilot abilities, and Kylo shit, I was like, oh, okay, they're doing Jason and Jaina, but worse. Okay. So I was just like, yeah, she's Han and Leia's kid, but so it all makes sense, but no, it's not.
No. Can I just bring up, and this is just one I'm never going to get over, in the original EU, Luke and Mara Jade Skywalker's child is named Ben because that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Han knew Obi-Wan as this crazy person that he knew for like 6 hours, maybe more than that, maybe half a day, that he did not get along with at all. Leia never met Ben. Not only did she not meet Ben Kenobi,
Yeah.
she was just some friend. He was just some friend of her dad's, and they
Yeah.
named their child this.
I give Ben Solo a pass just because when these movies first came out, I went to it opening night, and my coworker was like, "I'm not gonna get a chance to see it for another 2 weeks, so don't you dare say a fucking word." So every day, and this is when all the Kylo Ren hype was, and everyone was like, "Who's Kylo Ren? What's gonna happen?" Blah blah blah. Like he vanished from the internet in order to avoid spoilers. So every day when I'd clock in at work, I'd be like, "Hey, Kylo Ren's actually and I'll say like some random ass character who died in like the prequels or some shit." And the day before he went to see it, I actually went to see it with him when he saw it the first time. I go, "Oh, well, I'm actually Kylo Ren." And so when it's revealed that his name is Ben, he just looks at me with the most piercing glare I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that's why I give Ben Solo a pass.
Would you like to hear my embarrassing story about seeing The Force Awakens? I saw it with a friend, and the entire way home, I just kept pointing out to make his life miserable. We never saw who ignited the lightsaber and killed Han.
Don't.
I know it's bullshit.
Don't.
It's bullshit. I'm embarrassed of it, but that's my embarrassing The Force Awakens story.
See, I'm once again pissed off. Surprise! I know, surprise. This pisses me off because, like, yeah, the Ben. It makes no sense to call him Ben, and they could have just fucking reused Jason, but they did reuse that name for a different fucking character that's now canon for some reason. So,
Wait, what?
Okay, I have to approach this because I'm probably wrong. Your pronunciation of Jason's name is so different from mine, and I don't know which one of us is right.
that is
So
all I have ever heard it pronounced as. So if I'm wrong, That's how I was raised to pronounce it. So
I
my
was
father announced it, and how every other person I ever knew pronounced it. So,
I've never heard anybody say it out loud,
but
but it was always Jason.
I've heard it pronounced like 5 different ways. I've heard it pronounced just as Jason, which I think is boring because why are you
Yeah,
gonna spell it
you're
like that and then just make it Jason? But
I've always just
yeah,
heard Jason.
Didn't you watch Rebels?
Yeah.
Hera's kid, Hera and Kanan's kid.
Wait, I forgot what were we talking about 5 seconds ago before I
They
lost my train of thought.
reusing the name.
Oh,
Jason
that's
Bourne.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Who is in Rise of Skywalker? At least the ship is. Yeah.
Huh.
The ship is in Rise of Skywalker,
Well, that's,
presumably piloted by him.
Little fun fact, in Rogue One, the Phantom shows up.
Yeah, it shows up in that because they also did the crossover episode in Rebels.
That actually upset me because I saw the hammerhead front of the ship and I was like, yes, Kotar, and then
Oh, one of the hammerhead ships.
It's like, oh, they're really reaching back for this to use an old piece of junk. Nah.
They were.
This is like 20 years of me pronouncing this name, and you brought it up because we have one of our other mutual friends has called me out on it before. Even if it's supposed to be pronounced Jason, I refuse.
No, I don't pronounce it Jason. Jason, because I assume it's a hard E, or a soft C and a hard E. I don't know.
I've always just heard Jason.
Ray turns over a spinal cord injury patient onto his back after its spine's been cut.
I was waiting for you to bring it up because I knew if anyone was gonna bring it up, it was gonna be.
I just all in caps, like written right. Ray capitalization turned over a spinal cord injury patient lowercase onto his already cut open back, and that's like the last. Oh no, the last nitpick that I have for this movie is R2-D2 has seasonal depression, and I can appreciate that.
Chris,
Ben.
I have a fun fact for you. Do you know what Starkiller Base originally was before it was Starkiller Base?
Please tell me.
I don't.
Canonically.
Please.
I was about to, where's this canon coming from? Because it's probably
canon,
something I've run across, but not.
This is current canon. Well, obviously it's current canon. Canonically, Ilum was found by the Empire, which started converting the planet into Starkiller Base.
Interesting.
Because when it came out, that Star Wars adventure game that I keep forgetting the name of, Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. Yeah.
At one point, spoilers for Fallen Order.
I'm taking out my headphones. I haven't played it.
At one point, you go to Ilum.
What am I doing? I edit this podcast.
Oh, okay. I will refrain until such a time where you play that game, Josh.
No, say it. It's fine.
So at one point you go to Ilum, and it's like normal Ilum. It's all icy, and there's like a whole dungeon there. Then, if you beat the game and you can explore all the planets, if you go back to Ilum, there's the giant swath of it that's cut out with a giant hole where the giant super laser is going to come out of.
Interesting. I've not finished Fallen Order yet. I keep meaning to get back to it, but I have horrible ADD with video games, and there's a lot of other stuff that's come up. Yeah, I mean, I could go down a fucking rabbit hole bitching about the EU and that goddamn character, because I love that character, but fuck, they gotta stop adding Jedi to the current canon.
I know that. I thought when I first heard them mention it that maybe it was the Sun Crusher, because they were talking about destroying the whole system. I'm like, the Sun Crusher could do that by destroying a fucking sun.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed that the sequel trilogy, the idea that they stole wasn't the Sun Crusher, but the Star Forge.
Yeah. Also, I love the fact that it's like, it needs to eat a star in order to destroy a system, so it needs to destroy one system to destroy a second system, is what you're really telling me.
Can I, I'm gonna do, because we've been surprisingly on topic for Force Awakens this whole episode.
Somehow.
I'm going to pull us off of that for a second, because this seems like a good place to do so. Can I bitch for a moment about what they're currently doing with canon and making these movies all retroactively dumber because of it? Why do they keep adding Jedi and Force-sensitive characters that never fucking show up for anything again?
I mean,
They keep adding these characters and throwing them either into the Outer Rim or wherever the fuck Cal ends up from Fallen Order. Like, and they just never pop up through. Like, they need to stop adding characters that would have been active during the original trilogy. Like, they need to stop throwing fucking active during the original trilogy and the new trilogy. Because then you just have a bunch of Jedi out there who are doing fuck all while systems are being destroyed. It's just so super annoying.
I have one response to that, and I feel like it encapsulates my answer to that pretty well. Star Wars Legacy comics.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
They did the same.
For sure. No, they did. But the problem with that, for sure it is something they have always done, but when they threw out the EU, it's something they could have fixed.
I totally agree with you. I'm just
instead of fucking doing it again.
I'm just mentally past the point of even caring, because like it was fucked up from the start. Like I said, The Force Awakens started it, but I always want to give the Star Wars Legacy comics such a hard time because they specifically made old Jedi Order characters survive Order 66. Ignore the fact, for the most part, that there was a war that literally almost destroyed the entire galaxy, and then 127 years after the fucking Battle of Yavin, they were just like, hey, we're here now. It's like, fuck you!
Josh, I want to circle back to something you just said about being mentally done with it, or mentally, like, this podcast is forever. You're not allowed to be mentally done with Star Wars anymore. I hate to tell you.
No, it was just like, I'm mentally done making comparisons to the EU and the new canon, because, like, they're both super dumb. I knew they would be, and The Force Awakens told me that they would make the same fucking mistakes, and I just have to live with it.
The only thing that makes me very happy about the new canon is that it is not really delving into the Old Republic at all, because it is no secret to anyone that my favorite era of Star Wars is the Old Republic. I know next to nothing about, like, post-Empire Star Wars.
Well,
but the Old Republic is my fucking jam, and they've, like, very barely touched it, which makes me so happy.
Ben, are you aware of what they're working on right now?
That's not Old Republic.
It's High Republic. Totally different.
It's a difference of, like, 800 years, okay?
Yeah, it's completely different.
I don't know. I think you're gonna be disappointed.
No,
and they've because my favorite. Go ahead, Chris.
Exactly what Ben's about to say. They've made the Old Republic canon because they are smart enough to know that the Old Republic MMO is decent. Apparently, I've never touched it.
It's not good.
Knights of the Old Republic and Knights of the Old Republic 2 are so fucking beloved to a degree larger than the books that we give a shit about.
Yeah.
That if they fucked with those characters, there was going to be severe backlash.
I mean,
is the Old Republic canon?
The Old Republic isn't canon, and the game's not good. I have played the game; it is not good.
No, Knights of the Old Republic parts of that are still canon.
You said I've heard it's good. The MMO is not good.
Oh,
but
gotcha.
Yeah, no, you're right. The Old Republic is old EU. It's old EU. It's still old EU. It literally warns you.
And fucking Disney is fucking teasing the shit out of Old Republic fans like me, because they're like, oh, here's the Black Series Revan lightsaber, and I'm just like, so Revan's canon, and Disney's just like,
This feels like a good point to point out that Ben has, to our podcast listeners, that Ben has a crippling lightsaber buying addiction, and we should seek help for him.
It's not that crippling.
What I'm hearing is it's not crippling yet. but
I still have less than a dozen.
I mean, that's a broad unit of measurement. You can't let's apply that. You can't say, well, I've killed less than a dozen people. Like, you can't.
This has been Star Wars Every Week Forever. We'll see you next week with The Last Jedi. Thank you.
Yeah, I only have 9.
Why didn't you say less than 10 and Ben? Fuck.
I have less than a dozen, pulls out 11 lightsabers. Like,